Welcome. We are fresh off the heels of the two-night SummerSlam coming your way from MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. We got so much to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the WWE ESPN deal and how that's going to affect PLEs coming in 2026. We're going to talk about the Brock Lesnar fallout. We're going to talk about a review of SummerSlam and go through the SummerSlam games. You've got all that and so much more. Thank you for tuning in to your new wrestling obsession. This is Off the Mat. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about today, and let's start with the WWE TKO ESPN deal. We're fresh off the heels of the shocking news coming out of the TKO Group's Q2 earnings call, and the future of how the fans watch WWE premium live events has basically been decided. And it is a game changer, but not everyone is happy about it. First, let's get into the hard facts, okay? TKO's financial chief officer, Andrew, I think his last name is Shelmer, and chief operating officer, Mark Shapiro, confirmed what all has suspected, that a deal is in place for WWE's premium live events to move from Peacock to ESPN's new direct-to-consumer streaming service that debuts in a few short weeks. This is happening in the spring of 2026. Now, the WWE programming, PLEs, are going to start debuting on this ESPN app in 2026. But the app launches, I think it's August 21st or 25th or something like that. So let's not get it twisted that the app doesn't launch till next year. No, the app launches in a few short weeks. It's just WWE programming isn't going to show up on that app until later next year. I've seen conflicting reports. I've seen people saying beginning of 2026. I've seen that WrestleMania 2026, WrestleMania 42 will be, is it 41? 42 will be the first PLE to show up as part of this new ESPN deal. I don't know why it wouldn't start with the Royal Rumble, but who knows? We haven't had a hard date. Most articles just say 2026. I have seen some people on social media saying that WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas will be the first PLE to make an appearance on this new ESPN direct-to-consumer streaming service. And like I said, that's happening at the spring of 2026 when the current Peacock deal expires. Now, we already know the big price tag that comes with this. The new ESPN service is projected to cost around $29.99 per month. And on the earning call that happened, Mark Shapiro addressed this very issue, basically saying that this high price point isn't a concern for them. He pointed to the UFC's success on ESPN Plus as a model, suggesting that fans will follow the content no matter the cost. Kind of an arrogant take, I think, especially in a day and age where all the other PLEs, SmackDown, Raw, they're all on Netflix internationally. So in a time where anyone with a VPN could just decide to completely bail on WWE programming and decide that they don't want to sit here and pay, all these different subscription prices for Netflix, cable prices to watch SmackDown, or Peacock to watch SmackDown, or Hulu to watch SmackDown. I think it's on Hulu, not Peacock, or through the USA app. And you don't want to pay extra for TV to watch, NXT or whatever. You can just use a VPN and watch it all on Netflix. And I really think that they're underestimating the amount of people that are probably going to do that. And I know myself might just do that as well. This is a massive jump at this $29.99 price point from what we're paying now on Peacock. And, I get what he's saying by the people will follow, the WWE fans will follow, but I still feel just like I was saying, that's kind of an arrogant take to say that people are going to follow no matter the cost. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. But the real bombshell that came out of that call is that Mark Shapiro also revealed the one that shocked me is that Netflix did not submit a bid the domestic rights for WWE's PLE events. And this is pretty big. Now, why is that so significant? Well, if we really think about it, for months, even years, the narrative has been that Netflix was a serious contender and a natural fit. They already have the international rights for the premium live events like we were just talking about and are taking over Monday Night Raw in the US and other territories in 2025. It seemed like a no-brainer for them to consolidate everything under one roof in the States like they have internationally. The move would have been a seamless transition for fans, and given a massive $5 billion deal for Raw, it's not like they couldn't afford to do it. It's not like Netflix didn't have the money. So it begs the question, why didn't Netflix make that bid? And Shapiro kind of goes into that. And TKO and Shapiro said that they are kind of reluctant to do that because they were skeptical about having all of their eggs in one basket. He said that while they might have gotten a slightly higher rights fee for another partner, the strength of ESPN's brand and its reach were more important. He also mentioned how having their content on two supernovas like Netflix and ESPN was the ideal strategy. And it's on ESPN everywhere but the States. So it's like the American consumer is the one that's really getting screwed over. We're getting the proverbial middle finger here because they want you to pay for all these different streaming services to be able to stream their content. But why is the US consumer the one that's getting that giant middle finger and not the international crowd? It just feels weird to me. I don't know. It really comes down to, I guess, maximizing the value for TKO Group and its investors. They've secured a massive $1.6 billion over 5 years deal with ESPN, an 81% increase over the current Peacock deal. They're also free to monetize other assets like the WWE Network library, the NXT Premium live events, which were previously tied up in the Peacock contract. So they're getting all the live events. But again, the question remains, at what cost to the fan? We're now faced with a future where we have to subscribe to 2, possibly 3 different services just to watch all of WWE's content. And the PLEs alone are going to hit your wallet hard. So the new landscape is set. Raw on Netflix, SmackDown on USA Network, NXT on CW, and all the premium live events on ESPN's new streaming service. TKO is banking on the fact that we're going to captivate the audience and that we'll pay whatever it takes to watch our favorite product. But is that a smart long-term strategy? Or is it a move that will leave fans feeling frustrated and, as one of my sources put it, screwed? We want to know what you think. Of course, make sure to leave us in the comment section below what you think of this ESPN deal. Now, if you really sit down and break it down, and a lot of people have, you're looking at $30 a month for this new ESPN deal, $8 to $25 a month, depending on what premium or what tier Netflix subscription you have. $8 to $14 a month, depending on, your Peacock subscription right now, because they're talking about moving AAA and TNA to Peacock. TNA and AAA might pick up that deal on Peacock that WWE is leaving behind. Then to count your 55 to 110 plus TV subscription if you're a cable subscriber on DirecTV, whatever cable subscriber you have. So you're basically right now looking at anywhere between $150 to $200 in the States alone to watch WWE programming between Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, NXT, the PLEs, $150 to $200 for WWE programming is insane. Absolutely insane. Now, more has come out about this deal since it broke yesterday. And it looks like some of these people who already subscribe to a cable network or streaming service will get this package at no additional cost. So they'll get the new ESPN service at no additional cost. And that's people who have providers like DirecTV, Hulu Live. But they're leaving out some major players here. If you subscribe to like YouTube TV, you have to pay extra for the service. Comcast, extra for the service. There's a lot of other variables here that they're not touching the massive market. And like I was saying a little bit ago, when I look at this, I'm like, at what point am I going to just not buy this ESPN source? Because ESPN, you're getting the new ESPN direct to consumer. You're getting ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN News, all that great stuff. But for me, I'm a massive NFL fan. I get YouTube TV for NFL Sunday Ticket. I don't care that ESPN sold part of their rights to the NFL so they have access to NFL Network and will get the red zone and stuff like that. To me, NFL Red Zone isn't worth it. It's boring. It's only showing you games when a team is in the red zone to score. Why not just get YouTube TV, get Sunday Ticket, and I can watch up to 4 games at one time? And I don't have to just watch whatever game of whatever team is in the red zone. YouTube TV, I already get the ESPN family of channels. The only reason for me to subscribe to this new ESPN network or direct-to-consumer app is for the WWE PLEs. But you have WWE management and TKO management saying, look, well, you're a fan. You're going to follow. We know you will. Give us your money. Give me your money. Shut up and take my money. No, that's not how I'm going to approach this. And I have a feeling this is how a lot of people are not going to approach this. Why is it that we in the States are the ones that are getting screwed over, where the international crowd get everything in a one-stop shop on Netflix, but in the States it's, oh, well, we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. It doesn't make sense to me. It just seems like a money-hungry move, and it depends on whoever you want to listen to and what you believe. TKO, again, rumor has it, are $1 billion in debt. And we just had Brock Lesnar come back. How much of a payday did he get? So how much of this new deal is being funneled into Brock Lesnar's bank account? We're going to get back, and we'll get into Brock here in a minute. But I think WWE, in my personal opinion, is being very arrogant when it comes to this deal. They had Roman Reigns going on to talk about it. They had Cody Rhodes going on to talk about it. They're putting all their big faces out there to talk to you about this ESPN deal and how good it is for you, the WWE consumer. The state of WWE right now isn't worth $30 for these PLEs. We just had our first 2-night SummerSlam. The first night of SummerSlam could have been compared to the same match card that we got on a Saturday night main event. That's what it felt like. If it wasn't for that main event of if it wasn't for that main event of CM Punk versus Gunther, which saw CM Punk hold the WWE World Heavyweight Championship for, 5 minutes before he was cashed in by Seth Rollins, a cash in that the whole world saw, that I called right here on this very program weeks ago. After that Saturday night main event, when he got that injury, I called it on the program the very next Thursday. that Seth Rollins' injury was a work and that he was going to cash in on CM Punk at SummerSlam. I think everybody in the IWC saw that coming without question. It wasn't a surprise. I wanted to see WWE take the not safe route, and I wanted to see them potentially cash in on John Cena instead of on Punk and Gunther, but that didn't happen. They put the belt back on Cody, and Seth is your new World Heavyweight champion on Raw. It was the safe play, and WWE went with the safe play. I thought for sure WWE has had a reputation over the last few months of listening to commentary in the IWC, like myself, like JD from NY 206, like all these others out there saying, oh, well, this is what they're going to happen, and swerving us and doing the opposite of what WWE won't do this. They're going to do this, and they swerve us and they do the opposite. I feel like that's what should have happened with that Seth Rollins cash in. Everyone saw it coming. And so night one of SummerSlam was about the equivalent of a Saturday night main event, pretty much saved by that main event. Night two wasn't much better, other than the totally redeemable John Cena Cody Rhodes street fight from their previous matchup at WrestleMania. You're telling me that, in your opinion, if you're TKO and WWE, was worth $30? No. Not to mention the astronomical ticket prices that you're going to pay to go to an event. You got to sell your firstborn, your left kidney, your right testicle, whatever, to get a nosebleed seat to a WWE live event right now. You're going to tell me you think that 2-night SummerSlam was a product worth basically paying $30 for? You might as well go back to the old pay-per-view model and charge $50 for the PLE on pay-per-view. What's up, Tyler? How's it going? To me, it doesn't add up, man. The WWE needs to drastically increase the value of their product in order to drive the WWE fan to pay $30 for the first year, and then it's going to go up for this new streaming program. It's astronomical the way they're looking at this, that they believe, yeah, the WWE fans going to come over, man. They're going to come check us out. They're going to give us their hard-earned money in a time where the economy is crazy. No one knows what's going on. There's so much animosity and uneasiness in the world. They're going to give us our $30 every month to watch this 2-night PLE, to watch this mediocre match card that could have been on a Raw or a SmackDown or on a Saturday night's main event. Insanity. Pro wrestling in 2025 has been stale. It has been stagnant. It didn't start out that way, but you can kind of go, you can't point all. I know I say I don't want to see The Rock on my TV, and we point the finger at The Rock on this show for what happened leading up to the WrestleMania main event of Travis Scott and the whole Cody still give me your soul stuff and no payoff for it. But Triple H is to blame too. And his poor booking of seeing the same matches over and over and over and over again. To me, as a WWE consumer, that's not going to fly when I'm having to pay an extra $30 a month on top of what I already pay for YouTube TV, on top of what I already pay for Netflix, on top of what I pay for Peacock. It's crazy. What I really think most WWE fans are going to do in the States, yes, you're going to have some that'll pay this. But I think most of them are going to do the smart thing, and that's subscribe to a VPN service, change your VPN, and continue to watch all of your products in one place on Netflix through a VPN. You can change your VPN to Canada and watch Friday Night SmackDown on Netflix. You can change your VPN to Canada and watch your PLEs on Netflix. You're only paying for one service and a VPN instead of a multitude of services to watch what WWE is offering moving forward. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what more comes out of this, and hopefully they add more streaming services and more, cable network providers, not just DirecTV and Hulu Live and some of the other ones. Hopefully they add YouTube TV and Comcast products to this as well, and you'll be able to enjoy WWE on the ESPN app moving forward. I think much like HBO Max, if you subscribe to a service that offers you the ESPN family already, you should get access to this service at no additional cost. But I'm just a talking head on the internet. I have no power in this. I can just give you my opinion. And my personal opinion is to say, don't give in to the machine. Show WWE that you're not happy about this and that you're not just, a bank for them. And you're not willing to do it. Get a VPN, keep your information safe, but also just be able to watch it all in one subscription that you already pay for versus hundreds, especially if you're in the States. Their main fan base in the States are the ones that they're taking advantage of the most. And it sucks. High ticket prices, and now this to go along with it. It really goes to the adage that TKO buying WWE really made WWE just, I don't know, I don't want to say nameless, faceless business because that isn't the case, but it just turned WWE into a money-hungry business, and it just goes to show that it's all about the Benjamins with WWE. In the days of lower ticket prices to get fans and seats, giving back to the fans, the $9.99 WWE network that just got shoved down our throats is a thing of the past. How much VPN membership? I think it just depends on who you go through for a VPN. I get mine through my virus protection. I think I pay like $10 a year for it or something like that. I don't know. It just depends on who you go through for VPN service. There's many of them out there. Let's look up one real quick. Let's just take a look at like NordVPN. Nord is the one that's popping up with. NordVPN, $3 to $4 a month. So even less than Peacock. I mean, that beats the hell out of $30 a month, right? So you could buy a VPN for $3 to $4 a month, and to go along with your Netflix subscription, and you've already got everything you need right there. Watch all your PLEs, SmackDown, Raw, one subscription and a VPN. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when the guys come back what their thoughts on this WWE ESPN deal is, but that's just kind of been the overall thought I've been seeing is that, WWE went from you buy a cable TV package, you get Raw, SmackDown, to now you need Netflix for Raw, Peacock right now for the PLEs, coming up next year, ESPN for the PLEs, basic cable for SmackDown, or, Hulu to watch SmackDown. And you went from, you're looking at, I don't know, anywhere from $150 to $200 a month just for WWE programming. And then probably, upwards of who knows how much if you do satellite and or cable TV on top of it. I don't know. That's just my feelings on it. And that's where we stand on kind of the that announcement there, is that I'm sure some people will go ahead and get the ESPN streaming app at $29.99 a month, but long gone are the days of that $9.99 all access to everything on the WWE network. Peacock was worth it because there's some extra programming here. But for the majority of people, this ESPN deal that are only into, that maybe don't like, professional football or other professional sports, they're just into professional wrestling, it's not a deal worth it for them. So we'll see what that goes, how that goes, and what WWE does moving forward for that. But yeah, let's move on to Brock Lesnar. After an almost 2-year absence, the Beast Incarnate made a shocking return and completely unannounced return on night 2 of SummerSlam. The crowd at MetLife Stadium erupted, and when his music hit, and that pop was immediately followed by a firestorm of online backlash. Tyler says, so I can use this VPN, those PPVs like Thriller TV and Netflix, right? Yeah, you can. You can watch Netflix from any country that you change your VPN. So you want to change your VPN to Canada, you can watch SmackDown on Netflix. As a matter of fact, when WWE was doing their international tour, when John Cena just went heel, or even when WWE was in Saudi Arabia and they did SmackDown in Saudi Arabia, I watched it as it happened on Netflix because I changed my VPN to Australia, and I was able to watch it as it was happening on Netflix. So yeah, VPN. But I hope that answered your question, Tyler. Back to Brock Lesnar. The question that everyone's asking is why now and at what cost? And to really understand the controversy with Brock Lesnar, we have to go back to January of 2024. And that's when that federal lawsuit was filed by former WWE employee Janelle Grant against Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE itself. While Lesnar is not a defendant, and I have to repeat that, Lesnar is not a defendant, and everybody in this is innocent until proven guilty. There's no, not placing blame on anything here. Everyone in this is innocent until proven guilty, but Lesnar is not a defendant in this lawsuit. But I have to clear up some misconception that I see falling all over the internet from people in the IWC and other people that are covering this. Lesnar is named several times in this lawsuit. Janelle Grant went and did some amendments to the lawsuit, and now Brock Lesnar is named several times in the lawsuit as someone that Vince McMahon, as the person that Vince McMahon was trying to pass her off to re-sign with the company at a time when they were in a bidding war between UFC and him coming back to WWE. Vince offered her up to Brock. And then, of course, you get all the allegations of Brock asking for videos of her peeing and doing all this disgusting shit and yada, yada, yada. It is what it is. But again, just to clear up the misconception, Brock was named several times in Janelle Grant's lawsuit. And the lawsuit alleges that Vince McMahon used Grant as a sexual pawn in his efforts to get Lesnar to sign a new contract in 2021, like we just talked. The specific claims are disturbing, alluring, and McMahon instructed Grant to create sexual explicit content for Lesnar and attempt to set up a sexual encounter between them. And I think it's important to note that this encounter between them reportedly never happened because Lesnar was too drunk and couldn't act on it, whatever the case may be. It is, neither here nor there. Following those allegations, WWE immediately distanced itself from Brock Lesnar. He was pulled from scheduled Royal Rumble appearances and WrestleMania appearances, and his merchandise all but vanished from WWE shop seemingly overnight. For nearly 2 years, it seemed his time with the company was over. Dom, the last couple of months, we've joked about it, where Dom said, oh, WWE draft, Ricky Starks or Ethan Page are going to be the fourth member of the Vision, Seth Rollins' new group, and Brock Lesnar's coming back. Hell, it was a few weeks ago that reports came out that Brock Lesnar was on the TKO ban list. Brock Lesnar would never be seen back in WWE. There was a point where a few weeks ago I said to Dom, hey man, stop bringing up Brock Lesnar coming back to WWE every week because he's banned. It's not going to happen. Jokingly, of course. And him bringing up Brock Lesnar and Brock coming back has been a joke ever since. Then came Sunday. Lesnar returned with a complete surprise, and reports are indicating that John Cena's own cameraman, Stu, was not informed. Everyone behind the scenes was not informed that Brock was coming back. It was reported that Brock was flown in the cover of night and hid backstage, and nobody knew he was there but people who needed to know. Triple H, Tony, or Nick Khan. You know, I'm sure TKO board knew. But Brock Lesnar appears at SummerSlam. He ambushes Cena, hitting him with a vicious F5, and left without saying a word. The reaction and shitstorm online is, like I said before, it was immediate. While the live crowd cheered, social media was a different story. Fans and critics were quick to condemn the move, accusing WWE of stunning lack of accountability and willingness to prioritize shock factor moments over the serious allegations at hand. There is, if you watch SummerSlam is nothing but viral moments and big spots. That's it. The wrestling in most of the matches was lackluster. It was all about the viral moment. It was all about obtaining that viral moment. The spokesperson for Janelle Grant issued a powerful statement saying, and I quote, "For far too long, abuse was allowed to thrive under WWE's leadership. Instead of righting their wrongs, WWE has done nothing to ensure those responsible are held accountable. This attempt to sweep misconduct under the rug will backfire." So how did WWE respond to that, you ask? Well, that's where things get even more interesting. They canceled their traditional post-PLE press conference, a move that many believe was specifically to avoid being grilled by reporters on the subject. Instead, Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque addressed it in a much more controlled environment, framing Lesnar's return as part of John Cena's own wish list for his farewell tour. And the implication was that this was a final chapter for the Cena that Cena himself wanted to write. However, sources like Fightful Select are reporting that while there are very mixed emotions backstage about Lesnar's return, there are no indications of a mass walkout or drastic measures. The report also suggested that WWE doesn't care about the locker room's feelings about the decision. So, really, in the end with all this, WWE's legal team reportedly cleared Lesnar 4 weeks ago before the event, but legally cleared is not the same as public acquittal. The lawsuit is still very active. The allegations are still out there. And a significant portion of the fan base feels that TKO Group once again demonstrated that business and brand perception will always outweigh ethical concerns. So while we might get a dream feud between Brock Lesnar and John Cena, it comes with a lot of baggage. We're left to wonder if this return will be a huge financial success or if the attempt to sweep misconduct under the rug will be, as Janelle Grant's spokesperson said, ultimately will backfire. Me personally, I think if you have a problem with Brock Lesnar being back on TV, stop watching WWE programming. Tyler says, look, TKO and WWE are feeling like comfortable with Brock coming back to WWE. Yeah, their legal team cleared him, but rightfully so. He's not he's not a defendant in the lawsuit. He has named several times. I think I saw somewhere between 40 and 47 times in the updated lawsuit. about his misconducts, but he's not on trial here. He's not the one being sued. John Laurinaitis was, but he reached some sort of deal with her legal team to flip on Vince McMahon to where he is now, no longer named it. He's been dropped from it. WWE felt like things were okay to bring Brock back. And again, like so much so that when you had Triple H Levesque on stage in his controlled environment, and you had fans in the background chanting, "We want Cross, we want Cross," he decided to go, "Oh, you want Brock? You got him." They weren't even talking about Brock. They wanted Karrion Kross. WWE could have a potential shitstorm on their hands. 2 in 1 week. Brock coming back, and then the WWE ESPN deal. Again, like I was about to say, is what happened with Chris Jericho same as Brock? What do you mean about what happened with Chris Jericho? But if you don't like Brock coming back, don't watch WWE programming. Don't watch anything that has to do with Brock Lesnar. Pull a John Cena now instead of waiting until the end of the year to leave with Cena. Walk out now. In my opinion, it's a bad look to bring Brock back before this lawsuit's over. And part of this could be, I'm not a legal person. I'm not a lawyer. I don't claim to be. But part of this tells me that maybe, because WWE and TKO, I believe, are named in this lawsuit as well. And part of me believes that potentially we're staring down maybe a settlement of sorts. WWE legal knows that there's a settlement on their way, or they're going to arbitration, that this is not going to go to court. So they felt comfortable clearing Brock and letting him come back. And, it's hard to say where they're going to move back from here. Really, WWE has voiced that they don't care about your opinion. They don't care if you're going to crash out online over Brock Lesnar coming back, or all they care is the viral moment in the pop. And he got a pop when he came back. The crowd erupted. I, for one, can say I never thought in a million years we would see Brock Lesnar back in a WWE ring until this lawsuit was finished and he was completely, removed from it. Because there's still a good chance that Janelle Grant could go back and revise this lawsuit again and make Brock Lesnar a defendant. But right now, innocent until proven guilty. Brock, as up for all intents and purposes, is not a defendant in the case. He's just named in it. He is not what he's been accused of. And apparently, never took place. He didn't, for his wife's sake and everything else. The intent was there, allegedly, but it allegedly never happened. So I think WWE has every right to bring back Brock Lesnar in this situation. If WWE legal cleared him, whether that means, like I said, that there is a plea deal on the way, that this is going to go to arbitration instead of court, whatever it is, Brock is not really named in the suit. He's implicated in it, but he's pretty much not being accused of any wrongdoing. And WWE is free to do what they want with Brock Lesnar now. WWE legal cleared him. He can appear at WWE events. If you as a WWE fan have a problem with that, you can take action by showing that with not tuning into their programming, not watching anything Brock Lesnar is on. Don't watch SmackDown this week. Don't watch any PLEs. Don't watch Clash in Paris, where he's probably going to face John Cena there. Could WWE be using this as just brought Brock back as this last favor to Cena, where they're going to do Brock Cena at Clash in Paris, and then we never see Brock again? Potentially, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Brock signed a new deal. He's going to be back. I've seen a lot of people speculating that they announced SummerSlam in Minneapolis, Minnesota next year. 2 nights in Minneapolis, Minnesota next year. And potentially they think maybe Brock's coming back for a retirement run of his own, where his last match will be in Minneapolis at SummerSlam next year. Maybe. I don't know. But Paul Heyman kind of shared the same sentiment, where and a lot of these wrestlers are sharing the same sentiment, that like WWE can do whatever they want. If you have a problem with it, don't watch, but you're going to watch. If you're a WWE fan, you're going to watch. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of this Brock Lesnar being back? Are you excited to have Brock back? Do you think it's a little premature given the situation of the lawsuit? Do you think that WWE should have cut Brock off TV till it was done and over with? Do you think because WWE illegal cleared him and he's not actually being sued or a defendant in this case, that it's water under the bridge? I don't know. Sound off in the comment section below and let us know what you think about the Brock Lesnar situation. Me personally, again, I think that he's not being accused of any wrongdoing. That potentially what he was being allegedly accused of in the lawsuit didn't happen. He couldn't perform the adultery. He couldn't perform the acts that he's being, not accused of, but are being referred to him as doing, allegedly doing. I think letting Brian makes sense that Brock's back on TV in that case. You go with the, we're innocent until proven guilty. So I think, Sticks boy, what's up, Sticks? Hope everything's getting fixed with your car. Sticks says, I'm unsure what to think. I like Brock as a performer, but his legally being there is a bit suspect. Yeah, I think a lot of people share that sentiment. But again, at the end of the day, why keep him off TV if he's not being named in the lawsuit other than as a defendant, other than being, named as the person that Vince McMahon was doing the horrific things, well, I shouldn't say that. Other than him being the person that, okay, let me see how I want to phrase this. Other than Brock Lesnar allegedly being the person that Vince McMahon was using Janelle Grant as a bargaining chip to get him to re-sign to WWE, if he didn't partake and he's not a defendant in this, why keep him off TV? WWE, I feel like they knew something, and that's why Brock seemingly overnight was pulled from WrestleMania, pulled from Royal Rumble, and all of his merch was gone. But WWE knew this was coming because they had Beast shirts ready to go, new merch ready to go. Everything was ready to go. And Brock Lesnar is just unseemingly cancelable. You can't cancel him. And that's what Paul Heyman pretty much said the same thing. You can't cancel him. To be honest with you, in a world where we went through that cancel culture, nobody can cancel you. Yeah, they can, nobody can cancel you but you. Yeah, they can take aim at you and have problems with what you did and what you said. Everyone has an opinion. The old adage goes, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one and most of them stink. And yeah, they can take aim at you. But really, people can only cancel you if you let them. And in return, you're essentially canceling yourself. Spooky Jones says, of course you can't cancel Brock. He gives 0 fucks and will kill all of you. So enjoy the Beast while he's here. He's one of a kind. Yeah. And like I said, it's very mixed. People think ethically it's wrong for him to be on TV, but a lot of WWE fans are excited he's back and excited to see him against John Cena. For me, I've kind of grown tired of, I want to see Brock. If Brock's going to come back, I want to see him come back for a legitimate run. I don't want to see him come back to be this one-trick pony where he does a couple of matches and then, the Roman Reigns schedule. He comes back a couple of matches and he's gone for months and he only comes around WrestleMania season or whatever. I want to see him go for a legitimate run. If this is his final run, I want to see him have a John Cena-esque run where he's going to be there through multiple appearances for multiple months, through multiple PLEs, and actually see him be involved. I don't want to see his previous runs where he's going to hold the WWE title for months on end, but only appear 2 or 3 times. He's not going to show up for one PLE, wrestle, and then not wrestle on the next 4. I don't know. That's just where I am on the Brock Lesnar stuff. But like I said, let me know in the comment section below what you think of Brock's return. Are you for it? Are you against it? Are you excited to see Brock Lesnar versus John Cena one more time? All right. Our next news story, let's talk about Karrion Kross. And we've got the latest update on Karrion Kross and Scarlett's WWE contract. The situation surrounding Karrion Kross and Scarlett's WWE future has grown increasingly unclear over the recent days and weeks. And a recent report suggests that the silence behind the scenes may signal that something significant is underway. Stick says, I agree him being on the product upset. Agreed. If him being on the product upsets you, don't watch, but no one will deny his bigger than life personality returning to WWE. Absolutely. Exactly. That's the only way you're going to get through anything to WWE right now. Bitching online. Okay. You know, look how we got what we wanted with the R-Truth thing. And if Karrion Kross is signed, Karrion Kross kind of generated his own, publicity, and the fans got behind him. And the more that WWE denies him to us, just the louder we're going to be. Right. But with the Brock Lesnar thing, they don't care. In WWE's eyes, he's been cleared by legal. Nothing's wrong. Put him on TV, bring him back, make John Cena happy, send John Cena out the way he wants, bring Brock back, and we'll just try to essentially ignore it. That's what they did with the no media scrum, right? Making it a simple place for Triple H to answer questions to WWE employees that can softball him stuff. And I'm sure we're probably handed a list of do and don'ts before Triple H even came on stage. But back to Karrion Kross. According to a report from Fightful Select, Kross and Scarlett's contracts were originally set to expire on August 10th. As of Monday, the pair had not been offered new deals and were absent from WWE Raw. However, Dave Meltzer reports that Kross has since received a contract offer. Following that update, sources within WWE and those close to the couple have gone quiet. This is often indicates that negotiations or changes are in motion. The duo had initially been scheduled to travel for Raw this week, but plans were unexpectedly scrapped, while sources within WWE Creative reportedly had tentative ideas for keeping Kross on television. No one specifically shared those ideas. It was added that those close to the couple say Kross and Scarlett have kept their contract status private, only addressing it when asked directly. As of Monday, they were still telling people that no offer had yet to be made. However, they were also not informed that WWE planned to let their deals lapse without any effort to resign them. Additionally, Kross and Scarlett have little incentive to confirm a new deal publicly, as not doing so could help their negotiation position. The belief is that an offer has either just been made or is imminent. Interestingly, this type of last-minute contract move hasn't been typical in WWE since the departure of former talent executive Dan Volontarily, who was known for re-signing wrestlers just before their deals expired. Kross and Scarlett signed 3-year contracts back in 2022. Stig says, don't expect R-Truth release and return happen again. Kross either won't be back or will be re-signed. No, we want Kross chance will help this time. Yeah, I think that Nick Khan pretty much made that clear after the R-Truth thing. Pretty much saying we're not going to let WWE fans take over. We're not going to let WWE fans dictate what we do or who we do or don't release. Releases are going to happen every year. You're going to have new talent. People's deals are going to come up. People are going to require more money that are aged up, and we're going to go after younger talent. So we need to free up that space. Releases are part of the business. Releases are the name of the game. Releases are going to happen. It sucks that Dakota Kai was released. It sucks that you have some of the releases, but the good thing about professional wrestling being in such a healthy spot right now is that these performers can go on the indies, i.e., the way that Cody Rhodes did or that Matt Cardona has, and make a name for themselves there. They could go to AEW, they could go to TNA, they could go to GCW. There's a lot of room for growth on the indies. We got conflicting reports that a lot of speculation is that Austin Theory's been released. Haven't gotten the official word, but they're saying that WWE moved him from his active roster to alumni, and Grayson Waller said as much on TV that Austin Theory was hurt and nursing an injury. We don't know what's going on with Austin Theory. It would not surprise me if Austin Theory gets released. But wouldn't that be kind of odd if Austin Theory is released, as he was Vince McMahon's boy? He got that rub from Vinnie Mac, the same rub Drew McIntyre got before he was sent packing and went to the indies to make a name for himself and came back. Wouldn't that be interesting? That Brock comes back and Vinnie Mac's next big thing boy, Austin Theory, gets released. Brock coming back, he's going to take somebody's spot. So I would not be surprised if Austin Theory does get released because of Lesnar's return. And the bag WWE probably had to give Lesnar to come back, because Lesnar wasn't coming back without getting paid, right? Tyler says, do you have any thoughts on if Cross stays in WWE if he goes back to NXT? I don't think he's going to go back to NXT. I don't think NXT is anywhere on the radar for him. He's a Triple H guy. He was Triple H's guy in the black and gold. He's still Triple H's guy. I think it's just a matter of where he fits in creatively and what's next for him and getting him on TV. And the fans are going to continue to cry for him and call for Cross and buy his merchandise. And I think Cross could go to the indies. Like you said, you want to see him go to GCW. I think Cross could go to TNA. Cross could go to AEW. Cross could go to GCW. Cross could go to any indie promotion, kind of like Cora Jade was doing before she decided to retire from wrestling for the time being for her mental health. The same way, look at some of these indie, like Zilla Fatu is blowing up the indies. Look at Enzo Amore or Real One went indie, and he's kind of starting to simmer again. Drew McIntyre went to the indies and rebuilt himself up after being labeled Vince's boy and the next big thing and released from WWE. He went and did his thing, made his name, came back. Cody Rhodes, Matt Cardona, even though he's not coming back, I wish he would come back to WWE. Rusev left, got cut, went to AEW. Aleister Black. I think there's room for Cross to potentially go to the indies and make way more money than he made in WWE. Make more on Pro Wrestling Tees and all these other outlets other than WWE. But the fact is, WWE is the MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA of professional wrestling. It is the end all beat all. It is the mecca. It's where you want to be. So everybody's goal in professional wrestling is to get to a WWE. I don't care what they tell you in AEW. Other than like the likes of the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega, who tried to make it a WWE, and for whatever reason, it just never worked out. Would the WWE clamor for a Kenny Omega now? I think so. Would they clamor for a chance to sign the Young Bucks? I think so. There's just money to be made in the indies right now too. And I think Cross could go to the indies with his book, with his merch sales, with everything else, and possibly make way more money on the indies than he ever made in WWE. So if Cross is back, awesome. I want to see more with him moving forward. I like the kind of devil on your shoulder role he's been playing in the background. I hope that the feud between him and Sammy, they move away from that, and Sammy can slowly focus on going after Seth Rollins in the World Heavyweight Championship, because I think that's kind of the next, evolution of Sammy's story is to go after that Seth Rollins in that World Heavyweight Championship, because they kind of, he was very much involved in that Seth Rollins storyline. They kind of flopped him out of it to have this short-lived feud with Karrion Kross. And, now hopefully his trajectory has changed as to going to the Royal Rumble, winning the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and facing Seth Rollins next year at WrestleMania, where he will inevitably beat him and win his World Heavyweight Championship. Tyler says, I support all pro wrestling promotions. Absolutely. Indie professional wrestling is beautiful. Professional wrestling is at an all-time high. It's great, regardless of the programming WWE gives us week in and week out. I mean, your AEW, WWE stuff has kind of been stale this year, but leading up to it, 2024 was the hottest pro wrestling's ever been. And a strong WWE and a strong AEW makes everyone better. Having AEW be strong makes WWE up their game and makes them strong, but it also brings all these indie promotions up as well, like GCW. The list goes on and on. New Japan, although New Japan has got a lot of history behind it, I don't know if I could really call them indies. I guess it is, because it's not like WWE, but the way AEW is going, TNA could be the number 2, challenging WWE for that the number 2 spot to WWE sooner rather than later. I think Eric Bischoff said it best. TNA is a one good TV deal away from being above AEW. WWE and TNA have a great working relationship right now. I would not be surprised that if WWE doesn't offer Cross a contract, he doesn't end up in TNA. Prestige Wrestling is on fire. Yeah. I mean, look at NWA. They got a TV deal. I think they're on Roku. Sticks, if you're still here. NWA, is it Roku or Tubi? I think it's Roku. But NWA got a TV deal. Evolve, which is basically a developmental for WWE's developmental, because NXT is still a developmental brand. Evolve, the developmental for WWE's developmental, has a TV deal on Tubi. Roku. Okay, so there you go. NWA on Roku. They got a TV deal. You see these streaming services clamoring for professional wrestling. Peacock. WWE's leaving Peacock next year. Yeah, sure, but Peacock ain't taking it laying down. They are going to go all in on professional wrestling to the point where they're potentially going to give TNA a deal or AAA a deal, where WWE will still work with Peacock and NBC, because they still very much own AAA now. And Nick Khan said even today that they are moving towards 2026 making AAA their own brand. So it would just be another brand under the WWE umbrella, not a developmental brand, but a third or fourth brand if you consider NXT to be a brand. Although with the way NXT has been lately, they might as well just be considered developmental, because NXT program went from super hot when Julia and Stephanie Vaquer were there to pretty much middle of the road. Went from can't miss every week to pretty much watch it and a recap on Hulu or watch it on YouTube. TNA is going to be revealing a TV deal soon. Yeah, and I think depending on the TV deal they get, they could be bigger than AEW. They could challenge AEW for that number 2 spot to WWE. I'm calling it now. TNA and AAA is going to go to Peacock in this year or sooner. Yeah. It will. I would not be surprised. I definitely think Peacock's going to be right in there again with professional wrestling, whether it's, TNA or AAA. But that's the big news in professional wrestling right now. You got the fallout from Brock Lesnar's return. Everybody talking about this WWE ESPN deal. So we'll have to wait and see what more comes out about that. What more comes out, because WWE is being very hush-hush on the Brock Lesnar thing. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. UFC is leaving ESPN in a year or two. No, I don't think they are, because WWE and TKO, or well, I should say TKO Holdings owning WWE and UFC. I think you're going to see UFC sign another deal with ESPN because they have that ESPN Plus app. ESPN Plus is going to be integrated into the new ESPN direct to consumer model. And I think you'll see UFC sign a new deal with them and continue on ESPN, because I don't think TKO would re-sign with ESPN just to have WWE, come aboard and UFC leave. So who knows? I mean, even Pat McAfee, former Raw announcer, WWE announcer, and part of the ESPN family with his Pat McAfee show, came out and took shots. He congratulated the WWE on the deal, ESPN on the deal, but even took shots at ESPN saying, we'll see what middle management, low live suits, yes men try to interfere in the workings of WWE. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I mean, it's still just weird to me. I get WWE wanting to be on the level with sports and entertainment as NFL, pro sports. So why not sign with the world leader in sports, right? But the world leader in sports has been just embattled in turmoil too, with the Shannon Sharp stuff and bouncing all these people. Once Pat McAfee, signed his deal, bringing Pat McAfee on, it just goes on and on and on. ESPN has been a sinking ship for a long time. And I think you've got these new people in place at ESPN that are trying to revitalize and rejuvenize and rebrand ESPN and get it back to being the sports mecca that, media mecca, and where people go to consume sports, and bringing in WWE and UFC. And now their deal they struck with the NFL for NFL Red Zone and things like that are just all part of that play. But I don't know. All right. That's enough of that news. Let's talk our recap of SummerSlam here. I'm going to move myself down here. And if you're new to the program, every Thursday before a PLE, we do a match card prediction show where we run through the card and we talk about all of the matches and we give our predictions of what's going to happen. And at the end of it, we crown a new champion. So this is how the game works. Point system is 10 points per match, winner called, pinfall or other. 10 points per any extra calls, interference, etc. And Sticks, I hope you are still in the chat, because I'm going to have a question about how you gave yourself some extra points here. And I think I know what it's from, but I'm not sure. So that clarification will be nice if you're still in the chat. So we're going to go through night one. Night one, we saw Roman Reigns and Jey Uso defeat Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. This was an interesting outcome. You have the tribal thief, aka the wearer of the Shulafala, Bronson Reed, with Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. I was surprised WWE went with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns winning this match, especially when they were left laying on Raw the week before and Raw this Monday, the week after. Tyler says, I think WWE equals sports entertainment and AEW best performance. I enjoy watching AEW. They're better now. I disagree. They're so boring. Tony Khan has no direction. Tony Khan is just like a man-child playing with his wrestling action figures. He's trading his professional wrestlers as his own personal action figures. Their wrestling is good. Yes, their in-ring stuff is really, really good, but they have no story. There's nothing there. Tony Storm, Timeless Tony Storm, has been the best thing about AEW. AEW was awful with the Death Riders. They had their world championship held in a briefcase for over a year. There's just no story. Their story is boring. There's no substance to AEW. I want AEW, because like I was saying a few minutes ago, I want AEW to succeed and be better, because a better AEW makes WWE better, and vice versa. But again, I was surprised that yeah, but no storyline and storytelling. Absolutely. There's storytelling in the wrestling, but there's no storytelling backstage or storylines to go along with it. So it really makes you not care. But you had Roman Reigns and Jey Uso defeating Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, or the Bronze, as CM Punk calls them. I was kind of surprised at this outcome. It didn't really hurt the credibility of Braun and Bronson, but it was just interesting for WWE to leave Jey Uso and Roman Reigns laying the week prior to SummerSlam and the Monday following SummerSlam, but yet still have Braun and Bronson take the loss. I don't know. It's just an interesting booking, in my opinion. Then we got our WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss defeating Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez to become the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. For all intents and purposes, this was he still didn't get his shoes back, and then he lost another pair on Monday. This was a good tag team match. It's interesting. Credit where credit's due to Alexa Bliss, because she is single-handedly making Charlotte Flair interesting. She is doing when Charlotte Flair came back at the Royal Rumble and won the Royal Rumble, myself included, and every other WWE fan was screaming that they don't want to see Charlotte Flair on their TV screens anymore. They don't want to see Charlotte winning all the time. Charlotte wants to be a babyface, but she just wasn't getting over. And by God, if Alexa Bliss isn't doing the impossible and getting Charlotte Flair over for a babyface turn, I think it's only inevitable that we're going to see Alexa turn on Charlotte at some point, making Alexa the heel and Charlotte the babyface. But right now, I'm enjoying the Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair tag team because I feel like they're right where they both need to be. They both don't need to be challenging for the women's WWE title. They don't need to be challenging for the women's Intercontinental Championship or the women's United States Championship. I think both of them having a women's tag team titles that most WWE fans will tell you don't mean anything right now. Worthless titles. I think both of them holding those titles, giving them something to do, is right where they need to be right now. Tyler says, I heard Roman Reigns is going to be written off TV because he has a new movie coming out. So he's filming Street Fighter, but filming in that movie doesn't start till September. And he's not written off TV because he's being now advertised for Raw on the 18th. And he's also being advertised for a match at the Clash in Paris, which is at the end of the month. So I think he will be written off TV into September when he goes away to film Street Fighter, but it hasn't been right now. What happened on Monday Night Raw is apparently not writing him off TV. Tyler says Roxanne and Liv incoming. I don't know, man. I think there's going to be a blow up in the Judgment Day where Liv might be on the way out of the Judgment Day when she comes back for Roxanne. But I think it's pretty much going to be just, I hate to say it, but I think it's going to probably be just a replay of the mommy Rhea Ripley situation where, God forbid, if they do another dating angle with Roxanne and Dom's just the luckiest dude in the world, apparently. So Finn versus Dom and coming to, I think that is accurate. Yes. 100%. Then we got Sami Zayn defeating Karrion Kross. I think a lot of fans really want to see Kross take the win here, but I think giving his contract status, they went with Sami Zayn in what was an all right match. Then we got the WWE Women's Championship match, Tiffany Stratton retaining versus Jade Cargill. Dom is this Eris Val Venus. This was an interesting match. I think everybody under the sun thought that Jade Cargill was 100% walking out with this title. I know I did, taking it off to Tiffany Stratton, especially the way that WWE was pushing Jade Cargill, giving her the Queen of the Ring win. they pretty much did to Jade Cargill what they did to Charlotte. They pushed her hard, and then at the end went with the swerve and had Tiffany reign over them. Tiffany Stratton has been a good champion. I think it's time for a championship change, but I don't think Jade Cargill's ready for that position yet. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. I got to push back to her Queen of the Ring match with Asuka, where she went for that pin and pulled Asuka back too far, and Asuka's shoulders were off the mat. Kind of had a similar situation here with Tiffany Stratton. It just, I don't know. I think WWE made the right call with Tiffany Stratton going over, but I do love Jade Cargill. I hope she gets more time. I hope WWE isn't out on her like a lot of the reports are stating they are, and we get more from Jade Cargill being back in the main event scene. I don't think she's ready yet, but I think she'll get there. Sticks says, I was the only one who picked Tiffy time. Okay. That makes sense. But Tiffany Stratton going over Jade Cargill here. Then we got Randy Orton and Jelly Roll losing to Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. This was an interesting match. I think Jelly Roll did what he could do. This match a lot fell on Randy. This was a match that's pure, again, like I was saying, WWE viral moments. Looking for these viral moments. Logan Paul putting on the meta glasses. Stone Cold Toast in his prime. Going off the top rope onto a Jelly Roll who was on across the announce table, then handing Michael Cole his meta glasses after. JD needs to develop more. I agree, Six. It was an okay match for what it was. Jelly Roll kind of started to pick up at the end. I thought for sure WWE has a track record of the celebrity guest who comes in winning. I thought Jelly Roll was going to pick up the win over Logan Paul, but it was an interesting take to have Logan Paul pin Jelly. A lot of people are saying Jelly Roll requested to lose this match. I don't know. We'll see if there's any more Jelly Roll matches coming down the pipeline in WWE. I felt like for a man his size, good on him. As someone who's on a weight loss journey himself, good on him for losing 200 pounds and being under 300 pounds at the start of this match and pulling himself around that ring. But boy, he looked absolutely gassed when he climbed back in to try to help Randy at the end there. He looked absolutely gassed. Tyler says, saying lots of people are like Tiffany turned heel, but Jade never developed, and maybe she's just got go to NXT. Maybe she should have went to NXT first. I don't know why she didn't, but she definitely does need to develop a lot more. Sticks says, Jelly Roll showed up and delivered. I was not sure how he was going to look as good as he did, though he didn't win as celebrity, but it was a good match. Yeah, it was. I think Drew versus Cody Rhodes for championship. Yeah, I think that's where they're heading to is Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. I think that's inevitable, right? Just like Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for that title is inevitable as well. Then we got the World Heavyweight Championship match. CM Punk defeating Gunther with Seth's cash-in. I don't think it's fitting to call this the ruse of the century or the heist of the century. This isn't like his WrestleMania cash-in on Roman. This is the cash-in everybody saw coming. Like I said at the start of the show, I called this cash-in weeks ago on this very program. The Thursday after that Saturday night main event, I said that Seth Rollins match, that Seth Rollins injury is a work. Mark my words. Take down this date and time. Seth Rollins cashes in on Gunther and CM Punk at SummerSlam. I even called it. I said Punk is going to beat Gunther. Seth's going to cash in on Punk to further their storyline. Seth is in so many storylines and feuds with so many of the top faces in WWE right now. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, CM Punk, LA Knight. It only made sense that LA Knight was going to be the first in line when after this happened. And we saw that on Raw. And I think we're going to see it again. We're going to see Seth Rollins versus LA Knight. I think at Clash of the Castle. I don't think we're going to see Seth versus Punk again until Survivor Series in the War Games match. Because that's what WWE is doing, is they're very much setting up, and the end of Raw showed you. Our War Games team is going to be Roman Reigns, probably Jey Uso, CM Punk, LA Knight, and we're going to get a fourth in there, or a fifth in there. Is it going to be Sami Zayn? Maybe. I'm surprised Jey Uso didn't come out to make the save on Monday night. But I don't know who the fifth man's going to be. We're going to need to add two more to the Rollins group. So could we possibly get both Ricky Saints and Ethan Page? Who knows? But to have that traditional 5-on-5 War Game Survivor Series match, we're going to have to get one more added to the faces and two more added to the heels. Could it be Drew McIntyre? Maybe. Could it be Brock Lesnar? Maybe. But I think the most likely answer is potentially Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. I think Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus Punk at Mania. You want to see that match again? We just got that match at the last WrestleMania. You want to see it again? Man, who's Paul Heyman going to screw this time? Because you know it's coming. Seth, you're going to screw Seth and go with Braun Breaker? I don't know. I don't want to see that match again. I'm personally tired of these repeat matches. The champion, adding the championship into that match doesn't make it any more entertaining. I don't think. That's just me personally. I don't know what changes in that match just by adding the championship. I don't think. I mean, right now, Punk winning that championship is the only redeeming quality in that, because I don't need to see another Roman Reigns run right now. Seth Rollins, his last World Heavyweight Championship run wasn't spectacular. And I don't want to see the belt go back on Gunther at any point. I want to see Gunther do his thing without the title. Gunther doesn't need the title. He's held the title the majority of his WWE career so far. Again, I think WWE played this match safe. I think if WWE really end up make waves, make a statement, having Seth do the same ruse, but cashing in on Cena and Cody to go to SmackDown and win that championship was a way more interesting play. It made things unpredictable. It made things wild. But WWE went the safe route, as WWE's been doing for the most part, and put the belt back on Seth. I mean, by God, at Crown Jewel, you're supposed to have a champion versus champion match. We could have got Seth versus Punk at Crown Jewel with both of them as champions. But now it looks like we're going to get Seth versus Cody. 9,000 at Crown Jewel. Because, let's face it, Seth ain't dropping that belt till Mania, and neither is Cody. Cody's going to go away for 2 weeks and do his shoots for Street Fighter and come back, and we'll get Seth versus Cody, 9,000 at Crown Jewel. Stick says, by WrestleMania, this will be done, and Heyman will be with Braun, and it'll be Seth versus Braun. Maybe, but I think it's going to be Seth versus Sami. I think the end game, the answer is Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn taking that title off Seth Rollins is the next evolution and progression in this story. That's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship is the natural progression in this story. It's not going to be Punk. Punk will get his time to shine, but obviously, he's not going to be the one that takes it off of him. Maybe Punk is the one that takes the belt off Cody. I don't know. But my money, as it has been, is on Sami winning the Royal Rumble, Sami going to WrestleMania 42 in Vegas, and Sami taking the title off Seth. That's what I think the natural progression of this story is. All right, now we're going to get into night two. Night two saw Women's World Championship match, Naomi retain versus Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Probably one of the best matches outside of the two main events and the Dominic Mysterio AJ Styles match. I think this world title match was fantastic. Io and Rhea absolutely kill it. I think Io's boring as a champion. I'm on record as saying it. Her last 2 title runs were absolutely boring. But man, if her and Rhea don't go all out and have matches of the year, I cannot wait for the inevitable one-on-one match that we're going to get between Io and Rhea to go down, because they tear the house down every time they're in a ring together. And adding Naomi was no exception. Naomi squeaked out with the win to retain. I question now if Naomi drops the title to Stephanie Vakir at Clash of the Castle in France. Who knows? But I absolutely love this match. I thought this match was a banger, and I think Naomi winning and retaining was the right call. Next up, we had the Wyatt Six retaining the tag team titles versus the Street Profits versus Motor City Machine Guns, Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY versus Faxium, Andrade, and Rey Fenix in the 6-pack TLC tag team match. This was a rough match to watch because it was filled with viral moments and viral spots and dudes just killing themselves, but a lot of it looked really sloppy. If you ask me, the MVP of this match was somebody who wasn't even in it. It was Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae getting knocked off and going through a ladder by her own husband. MVP of this match. I think it was a no-brainer that the Wyatt Six were going to retain because WWE is going to continue to just shove that Wyatt Six loaf down your throat. People didn't care about the Wyatt Six after they debuted with such strength, basically killing Chad Gable and wiping out the entire Raw roster, only to be put in a feud with Karrion Kross in the Authors of Pain that went nowhere, to be moved to SmackDown and not put on TV for a while, to come back. And this match right here goes to show that booking and match placement matters. You had the Wyatt Six who have this ominous entrance, right? The dark, the fireflies, the smoke, entering during the day. That takes away all of the spectacle from the Wyatt Six's entrance when they're entering the arena in the middle of the day. Why wouldn't you make this the second to last match? Why wouldn't you have this go on after the sunset? I don't know. Just didn't really make sense for what they're trying to push with the Wyatt Six. You know what I'm saying? Sticks Boy says, a lot of sweaty guys going through tables and one lady through a ladder. That's right. But again, the Wyatt Six retain. I hope that we see more of the tag team of Andrade and Rey Fenix. Super match, or super tag team, I mean. But this match was just kind of whatever. Tyler says, this is lazy booking. Yes, it was. And they are going away from the supernatural aspect for the Wyatts. Yeah, but they still have that ominous entrance. Like, they don't have to do all the magic stuff and pretend for the Wyatt Six to pretend to kill everybody and this, that, and the other thing. They, you still have the ominous. You can get away from the supernatural, but still have the creepy aspect of the Wyatt Six, kind of like the Wyatts themselves had when they first debuted. You got away from the magic and the spectacle and all that, and you just went with the creepy and weird. And they could do that with the Wyatt Six, but it just doesn't work when you're entering the arena at 5:30 in the afternoon and still light out. And you can literally see like Bo Dallas's regular hair through the half dreads of his mask of Uncle Howdy. It just ruined the spectacle of the Wyatt Six. It's lazy booking. Lazy booking, like Tyler said. Moving on, we got Intercontinental Championship match. Becky Lynch retains via Lyra Valkyria, meaning the stipulation is that Lyra cannot compete for the Intercontinental Championship as long as Becky is champion. Thank fucking God. I like Lyra, but I am sick and tired of seeing Lyra versus Becky. Done with it. I'm so glad we don't have to see it anymore. We got Nikki Bella coming out in a goddamn just scathing promo between Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella on Raw. Oh, yeah. Bray Wyatt and him together and Uncle Howdy together would be phenomenal if he was still alive. God rest Bray's soul. But we got a scathing promo on Raw between Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch, where she took mad shots at Nikki over Mr. You Can't See Me, to the point where the crowd was like, damn, the crowd erupted. You knew where she was going the minute she started, and she let it simmer. And then she, boom, hits you with the, oh, right, you can't see him anymore. What a promo. Nobody asked for Nikki Bella versus Becky Lynch for this title. In fact, I think if you really take a look at Nikki Bella, she doesn't really fit in this era of women's performers. She feels very much old era. She doesn't fit in with the likes of Lyra Valkyria, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton. Just, she seems out of place of sorts. Hopefully WWE can fix that. Hopefully it's just a creative thing and it's a writing thing, but she just seems out of place. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think Nikki Bella seems out of place in this era of women's professional wrestling? Are you intrigued by Nikki Bella versus Becky Lynch? But I'm glad Lyra lost this. And I do like Lyra, but I'm sick and tired of seeing the same matches over and over again. Sick and tired of seeing Lyra in the Intercontinental Championship women's picture. Move her somewhere else. Move her along. Let her go show up in the women's world title picture. I thought for sure we were going to get Bayley versus Becky for this title, and we still might at some point, but it looks like we're moving to Bayley versus Lyra again, and Becky is going to move on to Nikki Bella. I'm assuming it's going to be Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella either at Clash in the Castle or on Saturday night's main event at some point. Next up, we got the weakest cage match I've ever seen, and Solo Sikoa retaining over Jacob Fatu, with the rest of the MFTs, who were supposed to be barred from ringside, right, showing up and getting involved. Jacob Fatu waited till after the match was over to do his moonsault off the top of the cage, a cage that maybe it was just me, but looked like it wasn't the same size as a professional wrestling cage that we're used to seeing. It looked like it was a much shorter cage. Maybe Jacob Fatu's afraid of heights. I don't know. But it just felt like the cage was a lot shorter. There was no big moves until the end when Jacob Fatu took out, was it Tongaloa and Tonga after the match was over. Jacob Fatu needs to move on. Jacob Fatu needs to be done with Solo Sikoa. Jacob Fatu is a hell of a performer. He deserves to be up there challenging Cody for the WWE Championship. He doesn't need to be locked in to a match with his family members anymore. I'm done with the bloodline. The bloodline was done the minute Cody pinned Roman for that 1-2-3. That was the end of the bloodline for me. We don't need the bloodline 2.0. You know, that story is done and over. The bloodline stuff is done. MFTs or the bloodline light don't need to be involved with Jacob Fatu. Have them feud with the Wyatts. If Solo needs a group, have them feud with the Wyatts. They need to get away from Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu needs to get away from them. And unfortunately, I don't see that happening anytime soon. We're going to build Jacob's stable up. There's talk of bringing Zilla Fatu in. There's talk of Jey Uso going against his team again. Move on. The bloodline's done. Jacob needs to be done with this. Jacob is a star. He needs to go challenge Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. He needs to get past it. I don't need to see any more of Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa. Jacob Fatu just needs to be done with the MFTs and the bloodline and move on. Stick Boy says Jesse Ventura was right. Lazy win by leaving through the door. Yeah, pretty much. Then we got Intercontinental Championship match. Dominic Mysterio retaining versus AJ Styles. Entertaining match. How about Dom, the genius of Dom, unzipping his boot. So when AJ Styles went to go put the calf crusher on him, Dom was able to just slip right out of it. Jacob Fatu versus Cody incoming. Come on, WWE. I've been watching Jacob Fatu since MLW days. Absolutely. He's a star, man. He's a star. Dominic Mysterio has entertaining matches. You know, we could potentially look at, AAA Mega Champion Dominic Mysterio here in a few weeks at Triple Mania. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Would I be surprised if it happens? No. But I think AJ Styles losing here was the right move. Because let's face it, US WWE fans, most crowds here are absolutely dead. Where are we going next? We're going to Clash in the Castle at Paris. Do any of you remember the reaction AJ Styles got in Lyon, France? Go to YouTube. Search up AJ Styles, Lyon, France, and look at the reaction he gets from the crowd. WWE 100%, 1,000%, 1,000,000% made the right call having Dominic Mysterio beat AJ Styles here, even though I thought AJ Styles was going to win here, along with, I think, everybody else in the IWC thought AJ Styles was winning this match. Having AJ Styles lose to Dom here and have him have a rematch in Paris and win that title in Paris is absolutely the right move by WWE. AJ Styles needs to take this title off Dominic Mysterio in Paris because that crowd will erupt. You'll feel an 8.5 magnitude earthquake coming from Paris when AJ Styles beats Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. And then I think you go on to have John Cena. You're putting a belt then on AJ. He's never won as he's getting to the end of his line. Then you have AJ Styles versus John Cena. You could have John Cena take that belt off AJ Styles and have John Cena drop it on his run. But you give John Cena the never seen 17, the man with the just out of the blue. You know what? I've been a jerk the last couple of months, and I can really see that. And I really feel bad. So we're going to go ahead and just be face unexplainably again. No big deal. We don't need to explain it. We don't need a massive face turn here. It is what it is. WWE, we're just going to go ahead and be face again. John Cena is just, I've seen the error of my ways. Here I am. Your favorite. I'm face again. Cool, John. Your face turn was about as irrelevant as your heel turn. His face turn on a dime. Yep. His face turn pretty much summed up his heel run. Irrelevant. Unexplained. Who cares? But I think there's a lot of intrigue before John walks away, him winning the title he's never won. And AJ the same. AJ Styles versus John Cena needs to happen before John's time is done. You want to see Lesnar slaughter AJ Styles? Maybe. Could potentially happen. But Dom was a genius for unzipping his boot, so AJ couldn't do the Craft Crusher, and Dom stealing the win. Especially on a night where it was the anniversary of the match for custody of Dominic Mysterio. You had AJ coming out dressed like coming out in a lowrider, wearing Eddie Guerrero inspired gear. Dominic Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero inspired. It was a great match. It was a great finish. It was the right finish. Have AJ win this title off of him. in Lyon, France. AJ Styles for Seth Rollins. That'd be a good match too. I think we've seen it, but I think AJ gets a big push on his last run. But I definitely think he should get the Intercontinental Championship, a championship he has never held. Then we get to our WWE Undisputed match, Cody Rhodes defeating John Cena. This match blew the WrestleMania match out of the water. John Cena gave his best performance since his return. I think John Cena performed stellarly in this match. He wrestled his heart out. He looked the best he's looked since he came back in this match. I think making him go face, removed all the pressure off of him to be the heel in this match. And we just got a fight. We got a face versus face fight. They fought all over the arena. Kendo sticks, tables, you name it. They did it. They went to war. So much so, and there was such good storytelling in this, to where there were callbacks to previous John Cena matches. Cody Rhodes undoing the bottom turnbuckle and using it on Cena was a masterclass in storytelling. This match right here could be match of the year, and I think this match right here was a masterclass in not only professional wrestling, but in storytelling. What a great match. And shocking everyone in the world but Dom, Brock Lesnar returns at the end of it to just F5 Cena and leave. We got the Triple H special where we thought the credits were going to roll. Cena's in there saying his goodbyes. And out comes the Beast. F5 leaves. And we go home. That's how our SummerSlam ended. And again, like I said before, SummerSlam, for all intents and purposes, was not a great show. It was pretty much middle of the road. But we got a couple good matches out of it. And we saw John Cena most likely win his final WWE Championship. He took his bows and he left, passing that proverbial torch to Cody Rhodes as the new face of the company, which Cody Rhodes has already been that for a while. He calls himself the quarterback, but now we just kind of get that John Cena rub to all but confirm it. So now we're going to move on to John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, and we're going to find out what that's going to look like tomorrow night on SmackDown. And now where does Cody Rhodes go? Yeah, Cena versus Lesnar is in the works. It's going to happen at Clash of Castle. That's why Lesnar came back. It's because Cena wanted him back. And WWE, I think that's the main reason WWE did a favor for retiring Cena and legal cleared Brock Lesnar, because he wasn't named in the, he wasn't a defendant in the lawsuit. He's named multiple times in the lawsuit, but he's not a defendant in it. So they said, well, technically he's not accused of any wrongdoing. So he's allegedly just got a weird sexual fetish. So what do we do here? Let's give John what he wants. So Brock's back to face John. And could we potentially not see Brock again after? Maybe, but yeah. So, all right, let's get into the points. So SummerSlam night 1 and 2, I had 80 points. Pete had 70 points. Dubba had 0 because he didn't participate, you scumbag. Sticks, where'd this extra 10 points come from? What's the 10 points from Sticks? That's what I want to know. To give you 100 points. And then Dom had 70. Dom and Pete tied. Apparently Sticks called the entire event almost damn near perfect and then got an extra 10 points somehow. I think Sticks math is very much at work here again. I don't know, but I digress. Sticks is our off the mat IWC champion. Oh, Bailey's failed interference. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was either Bailey or there was another one I thought, but yeah. He didn't. I noticed he didn't give Dom 10 points for the Brock Lesnar thing. Like, Dom's been screaming about Brock Lesnar, the draft, and the fourth man for months now. I don't know. But nonetheless, Styx is your off the mat IWC champion. Congratulations, Styx. My man, congratulations. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys this week. We covered a little bit of Monday Night Raw. They're kind of trying to make the Monday after SummerSlam like the new Monday after Mania. It really didn't have a lot going for it other than the finish, the return of Roman Reigns. Raw was kind of just okay. It wasn't, there's not a lot to talk about from Raw. I don't know. I think the main event is going to be tomorrow night on SmackDown when we hear from John Cena and Cody Rhodes about what's going on with Brock Lesnar and why Brock Lesnar's back. And we start to get that set up for Brock Lesnar versus John Cena at most likely Clash at the Castle in Paris. But that's it for this week's episode of Off the Mat. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave those comments below, letting us know what you think about the Brock Lesnar return, what you thought about the end of SummerSlam, and what you think about Karrion Kross or anything we talked about. Let us know in the comment section below. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so on your way out. If you want more professional wrestling goodness, make sure to check out one of our links at the end of the video here. Make sure to check out more from Styx and Dom over on Renovision on Friday nights. You can see Styx and Dom on the Qualified there. You can catch Styx on his channel every Tuesday night for the Doctor Who Rewind. You can catch Dom on Sundays as part of the Star Wars show over there on Renovision. You can catch more from Pete over there. You can catch me and Styx doing our thing there every Saturday night on Saturday Night Special. Yeah, great stuff tonight. Thanks everyone for watching. Yes, thank you so much. You know, I think I held it down on my own. What do you guys think? Did I do a good job on my own without Styx and Dom this week? As they had life happen, I guess. But yeah, I think I did a pretty good job holding it down. But yeah, if you want more professional wrestling goodness, stay tuned. Click here. Enjoy all the great content we have in this channel. And we will see you guys next Thursday with a brand new episode of Off the Mat, where hopefully Styx and Dom will very much be back and we can hear more about the WWE. At least we don't have to hear about Brock Lesnar anymore. He's come back. Dom can stop with that. But I'm sure we'll hear more about the WWE draft and, you know, the fourth man from Dom next week. Shit happened tonight. I got Styxed. Hey, man, it happens to the best of us. But on that note, have a great night, everyone. Enjoy SmackDown tomorrow night. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you right back here next Thursday night on Off the Mat. So long. Oh, do I send you out with a word of wisdom like I do with Dom? I don't really have any words of wisdom for you tonight. My word of wisdom is don't give in to the man. Don't give in to WWE. If you have to pay, if you're one of the few people that are going to have to pay for that ESPN thing, do yourself a favor, look into a VPN and just watch everything on Netflix. You know, save yourself some money in this time where times are hard and your dollar doesn't go as far. Save yourself a little bit of money. Have a great night, everyone.
In the ring, the lights go down. Roaring crowd, they scream and shout. Chants echo, shaking the ground. Warriors clash, the game is found. Welcome to